great to see everybody here. Hello, my name is Shelley Tiermark, and I am a member of the Wall of Fame Committee, and I am a retired teacher, volleyball coach, and athletic director while here at Algona High School. I would like to take a minute and thank you for all coming here. What an honor and great celebration we have planned for our induction of our 2023 class. We have some great Algona Bulldogs here that we want to brag about, so we'll get to that here in just a little bit. Before we get started, however, though, I would just like to take a brief minute to thank all of our committee members who have helped to put on this event. We actually have a couple different committees that are developed. We have a committee who actually does the voting, and then we have the committee that does the organizing. And both of those committees put in a lot of time to make a wonderful event here. So thank you to anybody who is on one or both of those committees. The hope of our committee is that the Wall of Fame can continue to serve as a way to not only recognize greatness in our area of athletics here at AHS and beyond, but also to serve as an inspiration for our current athletes. There's something very powerful in knowing that someone from our school has accomplished so much. The message is certainly that if them, why not me? I believe that this message is something that does resonate with our student body. Tonight, we are inducting 3 individuals and 3 teams that have achieved great success at AHS. We are so honored to welcome you as the 2023 class of the Algona High School Wall of Fame. Inductees, we will have you come forward when your presenter calls your name. Audience, feel free to take pictures as needed. But after the ceremony, we would like to have all of the inductees meet by the Wall of Fame for a group picture, and then you can get as many pictures as you want at that time. Again, thank you for being here, and let's get started. Our first presentation tonight, we are going to have our current head boys track and field coach, Greg Wellman, introduce our first 2 gentlemen. Greg?
Usually I don't need a microphone to speak loud to a group, but about a week ago I was asked if I would present for this ceremony, and I was honored. I couldn't have said yes any sooner. And it kind of dawned on me today, maybe it's nervousness for the game tonight, but what an honor this is. And I started getting, I hope I don't mess up. I'm never one to worry about making a fool of myself, but the excellence that I'm around, it's amazing. And so I am honored to be here. I am honored to see former students that I love that made me a great coach, well, a good coach, better coach than I was. Remembering 3,200 meter people false starting. And it's my honor to be here on the night that a dear friend, a kid, made me the best coach that I could be. Chad Allers gets in here too, so it's an honor all around. The first athlete I would like to introduce is Chad Rutledge for track and field. There is a write-up, and I'm not going to read it word for word, but Chad was an honor to coach. I think from day one, Chad was the kid that made our programs better, right from the start. And I think you'll see with the cross-country team, there was a lot of great athletes and hard workers in that group. But Chad had that. Going through this, I have to admit, I'm looking at this. You know, Chad, right now you're second in the 400 meter dash at Algona. You're second now, I'm sorry. Why are we giving him a award? But Chad, you are still first in the 800. You still are part of the 800, 4x800 meter relay. We're 5th now in the 4x4, and we're 5th in the distance medley relay. And that tells you the athletes that we've had. I've been blessed. These kids have excelled despite me. And Chad, in your state champion, I went through the stats and I relived all the glories. And in 2008, you were 400 meter champion in the state of Iowa. You were 2009, you were 800 meter champion. 2010. In 2009, we won the medley. In 2009, 4x8, and in 2010, 4x8. That's 6 state championships right there. He also, yeah, give him applause for that. In 2008, you were second in the 800. I think you had to come out of Slovene, maybe? Or the winner came out of Slovene. Jim would know more, I remember. 2010, second in the distance medley. Second in the distance medley in 2008. Fourth in the 4x4. Second in 2007 in the distance medley. And then 7th in the 400-meter dash. You were gassed that day, I remember. And you still scored points for us. In Chad's career on the track team, we finished 2008, 2009, 2010 conference champion. At the state meet in 2008, we finished in 4th place. In 2009, it does say 3rd place, but we finished 2nd in the state of Iowa. We were runner-ups. I think that sounds better. And in 2010, we finished 3rd. That was an incredible run. And you can see by the points Chad scored, you can see it, that you know, he was a huge part. You're still 56 in the state of Iowa, all-time history of the 800. That's not bad. That's not bad. Most of those are those big schools that pay for that. No, I wasn't. Chad made everyone around him better. And I've coached so many great athletes, so many great young men. It does my heart great to see so many here today. But I will guarantee you, it is my honor to introduce to you this year's 2023 AHS Hall of Fame member, Chad Rupp. Man of many words.
I wasn't ready for the speech, but I want to take a second and thank coaches and staff and tremendous group of teammates who I had. Push me every day to be better and succeed, and really appreciate all the support tonight. So, thanks, guys.
It's yours by as the reigning track coach, I guess I do want to say one thing. Chad, you'll be coming back up for the cross-country team. And kind of like the 5th Beatle, I just want you to know, I should be up there. I drove the van. I should have something, but I got us there. That's my only as a track coach, again, so much excellence in our sport in Algona over the years. Before I got here, during my reign here, I guess, and being able to watch so much, being able to see people still in the stands in our little Algona section, talking to former athletes, talking to former coaches. It's so great to know that other towns know who we are in track and field. And that's because of the athletes that have been here. And except for one school, that Mason City, they were looking us up on the internet, and I heard the one guy go, well, they have a prisoner of war museum. They didn't know much about us, but as a track coach, it is my honor to introduce to you for the 2023 Hall of Fame, Bruce Hackbarth, class of 1980. Bruce, I knew. When I first got here, I just knew Bruce as a dad, a great dad, someone you could look up to. Had fun being around his kids as they went through. But in doing the record board, you always saw the name. And as we went through, I know we looked at records and tried to cross off, and there's a few I don't know if we're going to get to in my lifetime. He was a 400-meter record holder, held it for 35 years until 2015 when it was broken by Cameron Crosser. And that was a huge event. That tells you how important great a record that was. He's still the only person to win it from Algona a Drake Relays Championship in 1980. He also was a runner-up in the 110 highs. That must have been a great meet to watch. The one record, though, that will never be broken, the 180-meter low hurdles, 20.15. I'm going to go on record right now. I'll buy steak dinner. It won't get broken. Hold me to that one. You're also a freshman record holder in the 110 highs, and we have kids that are trying every day. That's still a good record. 15.9. That's impressive. And in 1980, you led your team to the NCAA championship. Bruce's name's been, the Hackworth name has been involved in the track. And his records, his accomplishments speak for themselves. And as a track coach, I love being around excellence. So it is my honor to introduce to you Hall of Fame member, Bruce Hackworth.
My girls pick out the pitcher. They had to go back 4 decades to find one right out there before they were born.
I know you're paid.
Yeah, all three of them voted the same way, so that was nice. So thank you for that. This success, you know, it's dependent upon the opportunities that we have. And we have it here at Algona High. There are so many things this school does. You know, when you're younger, you take things for granted. You get a little older, you start to really appreciate and recognize things that we have here that a lot of schools don't. You know, we have great academics, our athletic programs excellent, our facilities are top notch. We have a great art center, our extracurricular activities seem to have no end. Yeah, we have a foundation that provides great scholarships for kids that are graduating, one of the largest ones in the Midwest. So I think a lot of it comes down to the opportunities. I was really lucky, not lucky, I was fortunate and blessed to be able to do something in my life for so long. I met a lot of great people along the way. My wife, the one sitting there in the blue dress, was one of them. I had to embarrass her for a second. I made some lifelong friends. You're your teammates, you do that when you're competing. And then I got to have fun the whole time. So thank you, I appreciate it.
Don Kaminish to recognize our next two members, Dwayne Hunt and the 1969 wrestling team.
Before I get going on the team, a couple of things I want to say. One, I was in the wrestling room here last week, and if you have not been in that wrestling room, you want to take a look at it. It is really neat. Now I want to tell you a little bit about the wrestling room that was in 1969. It was in the basement of what is now Bryant Elementary School. The walls in that wrestling room were brick, held together by concrete, and that was a 100-year-old building. And this wrestling room has pads around the outside that is 4 inches thick. Well, we had pads also around the wrestling room, only it was half-inch plywood. And every time anybody would crash into that plywood, the deteriorating concrete from those bricks would trickle down on the mat, and the managers had to clean that up 2 or 3 times a night. Locker room was upstairs. I think it had 10 lockers in it, and 2 showers, and we had 40 wrestlers. I had wooden steps leading down to the wrestling area. Now, every time we had a wrestling meet at home, we had to take the tape off of those mats, roll them up, but the difference between now and then, Jam had pop cans where you roll the tape up on bobcats, and then we would roll the mats up, and then when they got over to the high school, we would take those bobcats with the tape and tape them back down. And we didn't use that tape all year, I think twice. I think we got to change in the middle of the year and go to new tape. Okay, a little bit about Champ. Champ was the wrestling coach in Algona from 1946 to 1970. He had 22 state champions, and a lot of them were here tonight. And then he also came back and coached one more year in 1975. He also had 5 teams were runner-up. Now, a little bit about the wrestling tournament in 1969. There were 8 people in each weight that would qualify for the wrestling tournament. And the first round, 4 of them were eliminated. So you never had anybody placing higher than 4th place because the top or the bottom 4 would just automatically eliminated if they lost that first match. In the 1969 team, all of the wrestlers who went to state got through that first round. A couple of other things about Champ. He was a wrestler for Eagle Grove. He also wrestled for, the State College of Iowa, I believe, which is now called UNI. And amazing man. It was a pleasure for me to work with him. Okay, now for the 1969 state championship, and we're going to involve you in that Gene also, or excuse me, Dwayne also. So if you people would come up, and we will present some information about each of you. The wrestling team of 1969. There should be 4 of you here, I believe. All remember, I'm sure, the morning we left Algona to go to the wrestling tournament. Champ, we had it set up where we were going to leave at 6 a.m. We would get to Waterloo at about 9, maybe 8, and for a 9 o'clock weigh-in, and wrestling would start at 11. The forecast for that night was light snow. Champ called me at 10 o'clock and he said the forecast has changed. Now they're predicting heavy snow. So he says, I think we better leave at 5 a.m. So at 5 a.m. we left Algona. Champ was leading and there was not a mark on the highway. It was just solid snow. And we didn't meet anybody until we got almost to Clarion. And then we met a road grader who was out removing snow. Just as Champ got to the road grader slid down into the front of him and pushed the fender of his car into the tire. So there we sat out in the middle of a snowstorm. So what happened, Champ said, you put all the wrestlers in your car. So I had 6 wrestlers, and he said, you go on and I'll come as soon as I can. We got to, I don't know, maybe 10 miles east of Hampton, and all of a sudden the snow just stopped. But we had 8 inches of snow going from Algona to Hampton, and we traveled about 40 miles an hour. We got into Waterloo. Made their way in, and Champ got there about an hour after we did. Now, a little bit about this. First, we're going to introduce Dwayne. Dwayne was a 2-time state champion. Not only was he a 2-time state champion, he was on 2 state championship teams. about a story I remembered, and he didn't remember, but I can understand why he wouldn't remember, because he made so many impressive moves in wrestling that it would be hard to remember one. And that one was when we were wrestling Eagle Grove. It was supposed to be for the conference championship, and we held it in Garrigan. And Eagle Grove had an outstanding wrestler in his weight also. And the wrestler from Eagle Grove was trying to put a switch on him. Dwayne jerked his arm out, and of course, anytime you do that, the other wrestler is in trouble. And Dwayne pinned that Eagle Grove wrestler. Now, Bill Fetler's not going to like to hear that. But that was an outstanding move by a two-time state champion, also a member of two state championship teams. Outstanding team also. This class had so many outstanding people in it. Not only were they athletes, but they were also and now we're going to talk about these other two together. Their backgrounds are a lot the same. Phil and Bruce were, oh, by the way, before I go any further, 4 of them, or was it 5, went to the final of the state tournament. So we had the tournament won before the finals even started. Now, Phil and Bruce were runner-ups at the state tournament. Don't remember who they wrestled, but then going on, both of them went to LSU, to the university to wrestle. Both of them had outstanding years while they were at LSU wrestling, and both of them went into coaching, worked with young people for many years, and we thank you too for everything that you did for our LSU wrestling. Okay, now I want to talk about some of the other wrestlers in the other team. First of all, Robbie Claude. I called Robbie the other night, and we talked for an hour, and then I thought we were done, and then Diane, his wife, which was a classmate of his, you're not going to get away without talking to me. So we spent another hour having a threesome there, talking about all the things that happened while they were in high school. Robbie was a runner-up at the state wrestling tournament in Waterloo in 1969. And as Bill Fetlin has told me many times, he says, I am the one that beat Robbie Claude. Okay, another one, Larry Taylor. Larry Taylor was the only JV wrestler that ended up being a state champion that I knew. We had 3 or 4 very good wrestlers, all at the same weight there. And during the year, you could shuffle them around a little bit, and they would all have an opportunity to wrestle varsity. But when it came to the tournament, we had a tryout, and Randy Reeder beat Larry in the tryout. So Larry was going to stay home. But Randy and Bill was going to become sick or injured, one or the other. But on short notice, Larry was going to the state tournament. We got to Clarion, no, get to Humboldt, in the sectionals, in the finals of the sectionals. Larry, the match was down to 30 seconds left, and he was 6 points behind. He made up those 6 points by takedowns and the escapes. And then Champ come up to me, Champ was on another mat, he come up and he said, what did you score? I said, I don't think anybody knows. Because he was getting a takedown and releasing that kid, and the kid was from Brick, so fast that it was difficult to tell what the score was. The official went up to the bench and stood there about 5 minutes, and then he came back and held up Larry's hand, and Larry got to go on to the state tournament. As I said, we had won the tournament before the finals even started. Larry was wrestling this kid from Hampton, that I can't remember his name. John Showell. Yep, John Showell, who really beat up on our wrestlers that year. I don't know if we ever beat, because we would shuffle weights around to avoid him or get our good wrestlers against him. And I don't think we ever beat him until we wrestled him 4 or 5 times. And Larry said, can I just use takedown? I won't wrestle. I'll just do everything on the feet. So I don't know how many takedowns he had. But Larry beat that kid that hadn't been beaten that year. And then the next wrestler I want to talk about is Robbie Scott. Robbie was 1969 second place winner, and Ferris Fenn was another one that wrestled. Ferris had not had much experience wrestling, so Ferris ended up 4th place, but again, he had to beat that wrestler that in the first round before he could continue on. Okay, I think that's about it. I want to thank all of you for coming tonight. And this was a great group of people to work with they were in high school. And thank you all.
Now I would like to introduce Coach Dale Barr, and he is going to present our 1970 wrestling team. Dale?
One other thing that I forgot. Chris Sleeper has done so much for the Wall of Fame people in the wrestling area. I need to thank you, Chris. Some of you may remember her as Chris Wilcox. Thanks, Chris, for everything about
Great event. I think it's a good idea to honor athletes and coaches for their past performances. I think that's really a good idea. Just a real quick note on my background, because I was only here 5 years. I came in 1969-70. I was at Eagle Grove 1 year, the previous year as kind of a junior high coach. I was a national champion at Iowa State, and I started out with junior high wrestling. And then Champ called me after 1 year and said that if I come up here and things worked out, he wanted to retire, and then I could take over. And I thought, what a great thing I could do. It's this school has had a great tradition of wrestling. I would say, from 1965 to 1980, it would be the golden age of Algona wrestling. Each year they had many kids that were state placers, state champions, team champions, and very few schools of this size have that type of success, because they just don't have enough athletes normally to be able to consistently stay at that high level. But Algona, during that 15 years, Champ started it, I took over, and we won 70s, and then Bill Bellin, I think, here won a state championship. And so kids just, when when they went to that wrestling room, we were in the new room. So it was much better, but it wasn't very big. And we had some big guys that could get after it. And so you're running in the walls all the time. But anyway, to get back to my story, I went from here to back to Iowa State as an assistant coach with Don Nichols, or Harold Nichols, so can't get that wrong. And then I went to the University of Michigan, was head coach for 21 years. And I tell people all the time, this is a place I most enjoyed being. I got to know the athletes. I went fishing with them. I went golfing with them. You know, not that I hung out with them, but we had a great, great time together. And those guys worked hard. And this group that we have up here, obviously, was great wrestlers. What was interesting about them, one, is they're the only brother combination that's won state titles or national titles. I've had brothers do different years, but I think Dwayne and Gene were the only two that won state titles as brothers in the same year, and that's quite an accomplishment. Also, they're both two-time state champions. Now, how many two-time state champions have we had? Had maybe 4 or 5, and they're 2 of the two-time state champions. I think we've only had 1 3-time state champion, which was Paul Martin, which I coached for his 3 years. So they're right up there with the elite of an elite program, like Algona Wrestling. Now, a little bit about these guys, and let's have them come up. Gene, Dwayne's already up here, Gene. And we just can't have the other 2, Les Simpson and Steve Fitzpatrick were also instrumental in our winning a state title that year. What was interesting is they were one right after another in a dual meet. So it started at 55, 65, I don't know, 75 or whatever it was, and 85. And so that was our killer's row. That was our killer's row. And when it got to a dual meet at that particular time in the dual meet, all I had to do was sit back and champ, or sit back and watch them go. You know, they were that good. And in the wrestling room, they were all about the same size, so they could mix it up all the time. And I've always said, whether it's a high school room or a college room, the real wrestling takes place at practice. You need good practice partners that will push you and push you and push you. And these guys pushed each other in practice. These guys would almost get into fights because they're both competitive and hate to lose. And so that's what makes them successful, but the program also helps make them successful because the expectation was championship. So Les Simpson, unfortunately, passed away and can't be here. And I met his son and daughters. I want to tell you a little bit of a story about Les because he can't be here to accept this award. We went to an Osage Invitational, and West Waterloo was there. And if you guys are wrestling fans know West Waterloo was the class of the AAA schools. We were AA, they were AAA. Dan Giegel went to West High. Multiple state champions and national champions went to West High. Les Simpson had Rich Binnick, who eventually wrestled for, he wrestled at West, he won a state title as a junior, won a state title as a senior, went to Iowa State, my alma mater. He was a national champion in 1977, and Les was wrestling in the finals of the Osage tournament. And he was a horse. Binnick was like strapping, just dripping muscles all over. Les was the same way. He was very physical. And So Vinny was real aggressive because he thought he'd come on and get this little farm kid from Algona. He came out and locked up Les, and Les locked up with him because Les was ready to duke it out. And Vinny tried to throw him and ended up on his back. Les threw him on his back, and all of a sudden Les is ahead 5-0. Kid gets away, they lock up again, Les throws him on his back again. Now he's up like 10-4. Eventually the match ended like 15-7. But to show you how good a wrestler he was, he beat a national champion in the tournament. So Les was very successful, and then Steve Fitzpatrick was our heavier guy. Was he a heavyweight one year? Yeah. And then dropped back down to 185. Yeah. And Steve was an outstanding wrestler. So these four guys, one right after another, came out on the mat for us. We sat around and waited till toward the end of the tournament to watch these guys go. So they were, Champ, give all the credit to Champ, because Champ got this whole train moving in the right direction. And all we did was take over the conductorship for a few years each time afterwards. But Champ got it going. So these guys were a great team. They worked hard in practice. They represented Algona wrestling the way it should be represented. I'm personally very proud of coaching here. I tell people all the time, this is my most enjoyable spot coaching. From here to Iowa State to Michigan. And I always tell people, how many coaches started as a junior high coach and in 10 years ends up getting head coach at a Big Ten school? Doesn't happen. I'm lucky. These guys are good.
Our last presenter this evening will be our current head cross-country coach, Pete Waltz.
First off, it's a pleasure to be here today, as the previous people that were up here at the podium talked about. But as I sit over there today, this is the kind of person I am. I sure do love listening to old coaches talk about the old days, whether it be Coach Bear there, or Kaminish, or Coach Wellman. It's fun to sit around and talk to old coaches or old players, because they have a lot of experience, a lot of history, and that kind of goes along with them. And I always believe that when you reminisce about those times, I can picture Don, I can picture that weight room down there at Bryant. I can fully picture that right now. I probably can't, but I was like, no, you cannot, Pete. No, you cannot. But I am familiar with this wrestling room in here, because we use it a lot for cross country. We've used it for track and stuff in the past. But I do want to say that it's a pleasure to be up here, and it's a pleasure for me to recognize this state championship cross country team as we go here. And I do want to say welcome to the Algona Wall of Fame, where we celebrate the achievements of outstanding individuals and teams from our school, from this school right here, okay? And so today, I proudly get to introduce the 2008 cross-country team, a group of dedicated athletes who achieved the remarkable feat of becoming state champions in 2008. And so I'm gonna get you guys up here in a moment here, but before we start, this team in 2008 put together a great season, a fantastic season, which saw them capture the NCC championship, along with the school's first and only to date 3A championship trophy. These guys brought it home. I started working here in 2001. These young men, I taught them in the classroom. I was their science teacher, coached some of them in football and middle school maybe at the lower levels. Had a lot of them in basketball also. Some of them worked for me at the swimming pool over the years. Like I said, these are some really great dudes. They really are, and like I said, they've grown up to be fantastic young men and husbands and working in the communities that they live in today, and it's nice to have them back here, so I was really excited about this. In 2000, so let's get, I know Johnny Bow couldn't be here, he's in Florida. probably getting tan and riding his bicycle right now, so I'm pretty sure about that. But Derek O'Meara, Alex Keeney, Ryan McMahon, Chad Rutledge, Joe Schnatzsnyder, I don't know him as Joe, I call him Joey, but Joey Schnatzsnyder, Mitchell Davis, and my last one here, would you please, Kyle Walker, would you guys please come up here and stand somewhere so people can see you? As we're waiting for these guys to get up here, my current cross-country guys tonight did a 30 to 40-minute tempo run. And I joked with them saying, hey, they're ready to race you guys when this is done. They had no interest. They had no interest in it. I think those days are maybe over there a little bit. Coach McGough has got a plaque for you guys to hang on to there. But in 2008, the Algona cross-country team demonstrated their exceptional talent, demonstration, and determination and teamwork on the racing trails, led by their passionate coach, Chad Allers. And driven by their shared goal, this group of young athletes embarked on a journey that would lead them to the pinnacle of success in their sport, and that's the state championship here in high school. Under the leadership of Chad Allers, the Algona cross-country team trained tirelessly, pushing their limits to reach new heights of performance. They embraced practices, grueling workouts, and the challenges that come with long-distance running. Their commitment to their craft and their unwavering dedication to improvement set the foundation for their triumph. As the 2008 cross-country season unfolded, the Algona cross-country team displayed their prowess at various meets and competitions. The performances were characterized by strong starts, strategic placing, and pacing, and I'm going to tell you this, Coach Davis and I were talking about the old days a little bit there this last week, and one of the things that I noticed, and those of you who followed this team back in 2008 and whatnot, I think if you saw any photos of them racing, it was usually of Ryan and Chad, and it was either Ryan in front or Chad in front. It just depended where the camera's picture was taken. Okay, and then what was really cool though is the rest of the guys, that was your pack. They knew those two guys, Ryan and Chad, are going to be up there doing their thing, and Ryan and Chad knew that the rest of the guys were doing their thing. And they were, and again, you look at their stats and stuff over the years, you can see that pack mentality. That's really a cool thing to happen in cross country. And it's really cool to have, some dudes that are going to really do a great job at the front there, but you got to have the dudes behind you doing their thing too. Okay, and so that's kind of neat to see that about them a little bit. So their hard work culminated at the state championship event where they faced off against the best cross-country teams from across the state. The 2008 Algona cross-country team showcased their determination, resilience, and unwavering focus as they navigated the challenging course. With every stride they took, they brought themselves closer to their ultimate goal, the state championship title. And so one of the things I want these guys to think about a little bit here, as we kind of talk here just briefly, is when they were the year previous, and guys, you could help me out here if I'm a little wrong here, Coach Davis help me out here, but Coach Allers had a quote that he would kind of talk to you guys about at the starting line there. And he would tell you to take a step back, okay? Take it all in, enjoy this, you belong here, okay? And if I remember correctly through the stories, it was important for you to realize that 2007 season, I don't necessarily think they all believed it quite yet. Like, ha ha ha, Coach Allers, you're right. Take a step back, take it all in. We belong here. And I think maybe if I remember, you guys kind of made it like we belong here type thing. However, that 2008 season, he used the same quote. And it gives me chills to think about it. I know Chad would be up here right now talking about these young men right now, but again, he said, fellas, take it all in, enjoy this, you belong here, and these dudes belong there. Okay, it was unequivocally, without a doubt, these guys were ready to rock and roll. Okay, and I want you to think about that sometimes, the old coaches that were up here talking, you hear them say, man, I have great athletes. And sometimes when you're a coach, you have to recognize, I need to get out of their way and let them do their job. Right? But I also say that a coach themselves, helps mentorship, kind of helps lead, provide that guidance for them. And again, when you get those two things that match together, you get some pretty awesomeness, and we're recognizing some of that today here with everybody that's been inducted. And so I think it's important for us to realize that when you think about those types of things, I would hope if I ran for Coach Allers, that's something I would remember. Okay? And so as we look at that, when the final moments of that race arrived, it was clear the Algona cross-country team's efforts paid off. Their combined strength, camaraderie, and the sheer willpower propelled them across that finish line, securing their place in history as the 2008 state champions. Their victory was not only a testament of their athletic abilities, but also a reflection of the character and dedication. And the next thing I think about, Coach Rome was kind of laughing about how I should be on this thing because I drove the van. But I think some of us who were there at that meet, okay, if you can kind of picture that day, I know these guys are probably exhausted. They're like, man, it's awesome, it's done. They had no idea what it was, and kind of quote unquote, Coach Chad Allers, he did the math, and he knew that you guys went one. He knew it right away, he knew it, okay? And the score wasn't really that close at all. It wasn't. These guys blew the other teams out of the water, absolutely. Goosebumps here. He was talking to him, you know, a little bit, and he goes, no one else knew for a few moments, as Chad just wanted to watch the group and take it all in. Coach Allers just wanted to watch it. He just wanted to see it unfold when it was all done, okay? And so, take it all in and enjoy it. There was a huge crowd down there that day. Those of you who are sitting here who were there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There was a huge outgoing following that day, and it's not often you see a large crowd at a cross-country meet. All right, believe me, I've coached for 7 years now. I just don't see a large crowd always at a cross-country meet. But that day, there was. And Davis was kind of commenting about that. He's kind of the stats guy. You know, probably well over 100 people were there supporting, not more. And Chad walked into the middle of this huge crowd, found the guys, okay? Found them, he leaned down, told them the news. He said, guys, you're state champions, right? He walked away, Chad just walked away. I think Davis kind of remembers he kind of stood behind a tree there, just kind of watched everything unfold, and then they're cheering, and then the crowd realized what happened, and they're cheering, and I tell you what, it's a moment in life that I think those of us who have ever been in those, and it doesn't have to be, I know we're recognized state championship, but hey, you've all won at some time in your life. It's a great feeling. And to say, hey, I've got to this point, it's pretty amazing. And so for me, when you think of it, it's amazing to think about what happens as you put everything together, when the perfect storm occurs and you get that awesomeness that takes place. So today, we proudly induct these 2008 cross-country team for Algona High School into the Wall of Fame. Their achievement serves as an inspiration to current and future generations, reminding us all that with hard work, unity, and steadfast commitment to our goals, we too can reach the pinnacle of success. We honor their legacy and celebrate their remarkable journey as a shining example of excellence in sports in our community, and definitely for Algona High School. Fellas, I'm proud of you. It's awesome to be here. I love calling every single one of you when you guys were nominated. I'm going to tell you all sitting listening today, I know for a fact Coach Allers, if he was still alive today, he would be the one that would have been up here talking about you guys. He would have been the ones that nominated you guys. Well-deserved award, well-deserved accomplishment, and I love it when you get to have a chance to walk through this school. Like I said, I stop yearly, if not more, and look at this wall. I walk over there, look at those trophies. I don't know, especially over there, who half the people are over there anymore, but it's cool when we do this day, and we bring them back home, and we say thank you very much, congratulations. So gentlemen, congratulations.